Also, notable results as we get into Americans abroad. There's a little bit of disclaimer here. We're filming this and recording this prior to Milan's game, Real Betis' game, Open's game for Gaga Slonina. Probably didn't say that right, but I was trying. And it's also some notable results. Brendan Aronson subbed on for Union Berlin and scored the winner against Hoffenheim. Way to go, BA. Josh Sargent, baby. Bags a brace as Norwich defeats Ethan Horvath's Cardiff 4-1. Tony said that was the game to watch. He was exactly correct on that. Taylor Booth forced off with an injury in Utrecht's 1-0 win against Twente. Now, I will say that when you score 5 goals in 2 games, people are going to be looking out for you, and he got absolutely hammered in the tackle, and he might be out for quite some time. Ricardo Pepi plays his first full Eredivisie game for PSV in a 2-0 win over Heracles, and Flo Balogun starts in Monaco's 2-1 loss to nothing to lose, and they're right. Their name is right. They have nothing to lose, and I just did it again just to see Jesse's eyes roll. Now, let's get into – fine. Jesse, who stood out for you? Who's your big winner this weekend?
Well, I first wanted to see Timothy Weah, and he didn't feature in Juventus, but I saw Weston, and he had a 2-2
draw, by the way, against Hellas Verona.
So they're four games winless. Weston, I thought, was good again, but we've spoken about him a lot. Then I watched Nottingham and was hoping for a Gio appearance, and he didn't play. So then I went back and watched PSV, and they had the 2-0 win. All 3 Americans started. And, I thought that – so first of all, they go up a man in like the 13th minute. So now it's a game about attacking and breaking down a deep opponent. And one of the reasons I went back and watched it is because they played with De Jong, right? Luke De Jong as the striker, and they played with Pepe a little bit on the left. And then they would rotate Malik Tillman into the middle a little bit. And it was a lot of good rotations on the left side with Pepe, with Dest, and with Tillman. And then also Luke de Jong and Pepe had a good relationship that sometimes Luke de Jong would go over to the left and then Pepe would rotate in the middle. And there was some good actions, some good combinations, some clever movement, some good attacking play from Serginho Dest on the left. And so for the most part, I thought 3 good performances, a relatively easy performance, given that they were up a man for most of the match. But the only thing that I come away with, and so I think Pepi probably had 3.5 really good chances, and I think could have easily bagged 3 goals. And then I went and looked at his overall production. And so he's got 5 goals and 1 assist this season. And so I think he's made some progress, and I think he's had some good performances. We've highlighted different matches where in Champions League, I thought one game that he was finding himself into the game a little bit when he started. And then as the match went on, he got better and better and played really strong on the day against Arsenal. But this was a game I thought where it was important for him to get a goal and maybe 2. And this is something that still as a striker, you can do a lot of things right? Tactically, you can understand your position. You can be clever with a lot of your movement. You can create some combinations. You can run in the box. You can be in good spots. But in the end, you've got to score goals. And so I think that really where Pepi is right now in his development process and in his learning curve and where he needs to go is he's got to start scoring more goals. And I think if he can do that, then he can really move himself up the ladder, and he can be part of a discussion about what would it be like if he went to a little bit bigger club, and maybe he'd gather a little bit more interest from some clubs in England, some clubs in Germany. So that was the one thing that I came away with.
Big Tones, who do you got for us? Who is your American abroad that you thought really killed it?
Yeah, just quickly on Pepi, I think coming into this match, I saw a stat the other day. He was for his minutes, he was like the most proficient goal scorer in all of Europe, right? Because the minutes and the goals and all of that stuff. But unlucky for him, he doesn't get a goal with opportunities. But I'm with you, Jesse, because I'm looking at Josh Sargent is the guy I wanted to talk about, and it becomes a bigger picture, right? First off, 2 goals again from Josh Sargent. That's 6 in 6 appearances now for him. We talked in the last episode about the forwards and how I feel about them, because I think there's something really interesting going on. Because I think if you took a poll, right, and looked at the forwards, you would probably put him in with Flo first, Ricardo Pepi second, and maybe Josh Sargent third. Flo Bogdan hasn't played a lot, right? Doesn't have many goals to his name over the last couple of months because of the injury and now just trying to get fit again. And then you've got Ricardo Pepi, who has scored some goals but still needs to be a little bit sharper. And then the third guy you have on the list for a lot of people, and I see there's some people on social media think that Josh Sargent should be number one, and some have been on that sort of bandwagon for a while, which I completely appreciate. Now you got a guy who's scoring goals. So I think this becomes really interesting from a national team standpoint. And I think will be a discussion as we get into the international window coming up. So I watch that, and I will continue to watch that through the weeks. The other story I'm following, and Jimmy, you said, I think you said, who's the American lighting it up? I went the other way, actually. Who's the American that made a move in January, as Jesse mentioned, didn't play this weekend? And that's Gio Reyna. And this move was basically to get Gio more minutes. Now, I'm of the mindset, and I've always been of the mindset, the player has to earn everything, right, in the end. And but when you make a move like this, the expectation, I think, is that you're going to do it to get more minutes. And at the moment, after 3 matches, that hasn't happened. I think it's been 29 minutes the first 2 matches. I did a little bit of research since he came back from the injury. That was 13 games, one which he didn't get off the bench. He was averaging 18 minutes a match, right, for Dortmund. So and again, I know those numbers are similar, but just to give you something to chew on, it's at the moment, it's hard to say that it's worked out. I thought the small minutes that he's played for Nottingham so far in the first 2 matches he came, he looked really comfortable on the ball. He looked like he wanted to get into good attacking areas, which we've seen. But there's just something missing in the analysis of why he doesn't get more minutes. I thought he was different for Nottingham Forest. I thought he'd be the guy that Nuno says, okay, this is how my team plays. I need somebody to kind of to break a line, to make one of those sort of creative passes, maybe dribble somebody, maybe dribble 2 guys and open up the game. I thought he was bringing in somebody that would be different from what he has, and he hasn't gotten the minutes. Now you win 2-0, just like Matt Turner on, from a goalkeeping standpoint. I don't know, Jesse, you've coached the more.
Well, I want to jump in here, Big Tones. I want to jump in because
go ahead.
I'm just curious. This is pure speculation, and maybe get some bits and pieces along the way. But given that there's been, or there is a reputation around him now, does he not train well? Does he wear his heart on his sleeve so much that if he's not going to be in the 11, he's kind of an Eeyore about things? Like, but I don't know. This is me speculating, but there has to be some kind of constant that's happening, because if he was training his ass, we know he's got quality. When he went on the field for Forest, he looked like he had quality and he did fine and looked like the guys trusted him and he was moving the ball around and was making good, positive decisions on the ball. I feel like there's got to be something in training or something off the field that's not connecting with the coaching staff in some way that they want to give him more minutes. I'm going to just throw that out there and let Jesse Marsh pick it up.
Listen, first I would say Nottingham, this was probably their best performance since Nuno's come in. So that's going to make things potentially even harder for Gio moving forward. We went through, because on Sky 90 in Deutschland, the sport director from Dortmund said that Gio needed to give full gas. And we interpret that a little bit that he hasn't trained fully or
right,
as well as he needs to. So you could be right. That is speculation. But we all know, like, when you're not playing and you're not playing as much as you want, the best way to insert yourself into the lineup or to get more minutes is to perform on the pitch and to train your ass off.
Right.
And training becomes your match day. So, I mean, we've all been there, whether it's when we were young and trying to establish ourselves, when we got pulled out of the lineup by a coach at a certain point. Like, you always wanted to make it difficult for the coach to say again, yeah, we're going to go without him. We always want to train in a way where the coach knows, even if he doesn't start you, he needs to put you in the match. So, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to look at this. I think it was a pressure game for Nuno, and Nottingham hasn't looked so great and hasn't gotten great results. So this was a big match for him. And they got a late goal, by the way, too. It was 1-0. They were, I thought, the better team throughout most of the match. And then they got the late goal, which helped secure it. And again, with a performance like that, you would think it'll be even harder for Gio to get
I agree. That's what I was going to say. It's just now Nuno's going to start trusting these guys that delivered for him in high pressure situations.
and
Gio won't be the guy, Jones.